Thanks, Bill. Yeah, as Bill said, I'm not being paid to be here, so you're all going to get your money's worth. I promise you that. Anyway, and thanks for those kind words. As Bill mentioned, my wife and I, Heather, we're heavily involved in the running community. We always have been, so much so now that it pretty much has become our livelihood. We own a race timing business, T&H Timing. We time most of the local running events in the area. We also own a running store in Valparaiso called the Extra Mile. So our life is running now. It didn't start out that way. I am a fifth generation home builder. My great-great-great-grandfather, I think, came over from Germany and started building houses, and the Henderlongs have not been really smart enough to do anything different than that for 5 generations. So I did build houses for many years. Through that, ended up sitting on the board of directors for Opportunity Enterprises, which is a great organization in Porter County that provides services for people with disabilities. Through that, they were in need of a fundraiser, so I had done a couple of marathons and raised money for some charities, and I said, well, why don't we try and do something like that locally with the Chicago Marathon being in our backyard. That grew into the Opportunity Enterprises running teams that, it's been many years since I've been involved with it, but the last year I was involved with it, we had trained over 900 people to run the Chicago Marathon and had raised over almost $1 million for the organization. So that's some of the power of running, and that came from just an idea of, well, hey, what if we did this? Let's see if we could get 20 or 30 runners to come train to do the marathon. 900 runners later, we kind of found we had something. So that's kind of how I got here today. I did the running teams for a while, ended up being the director of development for Opportunity Enterprises. As I like to say, I was their head beggar for many years, going out and trying to get donations and such. Through that, started the timing business, started the running store business, and now running is my life. I have personally completed more marathons than I can count. I know it's well over 50. I have run the New York Marathon, I've run the Boston Marathon. I've set some pretty lofty goals for myself with running, and as I like to tell anyone who'll listen, I squeezed every last bit of ability out of this non-runner body. I was not a runner, never grew up running. In high school I was a gymnast. They recruited the gymnasts to be pole vaulters, so I was on the track team. It was the shortest distance you could run and still be on the track team. So it wasn't until I was in my mid-late 20s when I just started taking up running, and I did it. It's funny, I'm sitting here, I have my notes on my iPhone. I got here, my directions to get here today came off of my iPhone. If my wife is having a tooth problem, I Googled tooth problem, found it on my iPhone. We pretty much have everything, any information you want to have at our fingertips right now. When I started running, you didn't have that. There was maybe 2 or 3 books about running, if you could find them. And so when I started running, I just basically put on my running shoes, or what I thought were running shoes at the time, and went out and started running. And that's, through that, I'm now 30 years later, I guess it would be, almost 30 years later. I stand here, and like I said, I've run a ton of marathons. My life is heavily steeped in running. So that's where we got. When I started running, I know I weighed well over 200 pounds. I was smoking at least a pack and a half of cigarettes a day, and was not very healthy. My first daughter had been born, and I realized maybe there was a reason for me to stay on this planet a little longer than I was heading towards, and decided, well, I want to get fit. I want to get healthy. And I didn't do that by saying, I want to run a marathon, or I want to run for the rest of my life. I simply said, I need to get in shape. How am I going to do this? And I did it with one real simple idea. I thought, well, what can I do here at my house? So I started doing 3 sets of sit-ups, 3 sets of push-ups, and I had some old kitchen chairs. I did 3 sets of dips, and that's what I did. And I figured, well, how long is this going to take me? It's going to take me 15 minutes. 15 minutes a day to do that. And I thought, I have got to have 15 minutes in my day to do something, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it for 30 days, no excuses, and I did. And from that, I added a little bit more to that and made it up to a half hour. And it just pretty much general weightlifting exercises. After a month or so, 2 months of that, I started feeling better and thought, well, what if I added some cardiovascular, to that? So I'll go out and run for a couple minutes. And that's where it started. I guess that's what I'm here to talk to you all about today. How many people here run? Okay, well, my work's done. I'll leave. So how many people here have some sort of fitness routine they do every day? All right, a lot of the same people. All right. What I always get when I do the Couch to 5K programs or start talking to people about running is I say, why don't you run? And what do you think the number one reason I get when I say, why don't you run? What's the number one reason I get for that? Why don't they?
Cigarette
time. Cigarettes, meh. I ran and smoked for a lot of years, so no, time. Everyone says, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to exercise. I'm like, okay, very good. We don't have the time to exercise. I want to see a show of hands. Who here brushed their teeth this morning? Okay, a couple people I'm not going to talk to. But for the most part, how many people will shower at some point in time during this day? All right. Again, same people I'm not talking to. Okay, we all do those things, right? And how do we have time to do that? I showered, shaved, and brushed my teeth this morning before I came here today. And you know how I managed to do that? I set my alarm for a half hour sooner than I had to leave the house so I could do that. So we make time for these things in our day. We always have time to do the stuff that we want to do, and we actually have time to do things we have to do. Things we don't want to do, we still have to do. Probably most people don't want to come to work, but you come to work because you have to do that. So time really isn't an effective excuse. It's a priority. And so I think what most people struggle with when they start adding fitness or running or any type of athletic activity to their life is, how do I make it a priority? Well, let me tell you the cycle of most people. When do you think most people start an exercise program? That's right, January 2nd. Go to the YMCA, go to your local gym, January 2nd. It is packed. It is full. I don't go to the YMCA for the month of January. I take off because it's packed and full. So most people are like, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start my fitness program, and I'm going to go to the Y for an hour every day, or I'm going to run 5 miles a day. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they do it for 3 days, and they generally, after the third day, are walking around, can't move their arms, can't move their legs, they're, can't move, and they've realized that, oh, I don't have the hour to put to it today, I'll do it tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next day, and it's gone. When you want to start a fitness routine is 15 minutes. 15 minutes a day. That's all you should devote to it. Say, I'm going to carve out 15 minutes in my day to do some sort of fitness activity. That's step one. 30 days, no excuses. When I was doing that, I can think of two days in particular. I got home, it was 11:30 at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like, I didn't do my exercises today. I'll do them tomorrow. And I'm like, no, wait. I said I was going to do it, so I took 15 minutes before I went. What's the difference between going to bed at 11:30 and 11:45? Nothing. And so I sat there, did my sit-ups, push-ups, dips, and went to bed. 15 minutes. Figure out some point in your day, any time of your day, to do that. Step two is make it simple. Exercise is any movement other than what you're doing right now, which is sitting, listening, talking to me, or listening to me talk. It's any type of movement. It does not have to be bench pressing a Ford pickup truck. It is not going out and running 10 miles. It is any type of activity. In our store, I have everybody comes in. It's funny because everyone, oh, I'm not much of a runner. How much do you run? I only run 40 miles a week. That's a pretty good runner. I only run 20 miles a week. I only run 10 miles a week. Well, you run. And I have some people, oh, I'm not a runner. I said, well, then why are you here? Well, I go out and I kind of run, walk, and I do this. I said, running is nothing more than going from point A to point B in a rapid manner. Now, that can be jogging, running, cartwheeling, crawling. If you go from point A to point B, that's exercise. And so for your 15 minutes a day, make it something simple. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to go get a gym membership. You do, however, have to come to the Extra Mile Fitness Company in Valparaiso, Indiana, and get good shoes. That is a requirement. You don't even have to do that at first. But you just make it something simple you can do. Going up and down a flight of stairs for 15 minutes is a pretty darn good workout. If it's getting up in the morning and I'm going to take a walk around the block before I take my shower, do that. Get in that habit. It's a lifestyle. It's a part of your life that you don't want to miss. It's like getting up in the morning and showering. It's like eating. It's, it's like if you go to the movies every Friday. It's just something that you're going to make a priority. So you do that. And if you do it for 30 days, it takes 30 days to start a good habit or break a bad one. If you do that for 30 days, I think you'll be excited to find that, one, yeah, I committed myself to this, and I feel a sense of accomplishment just from not letting myself down, from saying, I'm going to do this, and I did it. The second thing you'll start seeing is you will see some benefit. Even if it's just walking around the block, you'll see a little bit of weight loss, or you'll feel a little bit better, or you'll be breathing a little easier. And from that, you can build on it. From that, you'll say, okay, I saw some success, and I'm going to move. I like in running, and we do a lot of beginning running groups at our store. We do, that has always been our commitment. Everything that Heather, my wife, and I have always done with what we've done with running is very simple. We, first and foremost, promote the sport of running and promote a healthy lifestyle. That's what we do. If we happen to make money doing it, that's great. My philosophy has always been, if we do the right thing, if we get people interested in this sport and we make it fun for them, the rest will follow. We did it with the marathon team, we've done it with our running store, we've done it with our timing business, and so far it's worked out pretty good. So we try to promote that. And with our beginning running groups, we start out, you jog 30 seconds, you walk a minute, you jog 30 seconds, you walk a minute. If you can't jog the 30 seconds, you walk the whole time. But we go from that and slowly build to where people can do a 5K run. And what I tell them is there are inherent benefits of fitness, and I personally think of running itself. One, it gets you in great shape. It is great for you mentally. There have been studies that show time and time again, running fights, physical fitness, physical exercise fights depression better than Prozac. Hands down, so there's a mental side to it when you get out and exercise, and especially when you run, where you just feel better. You feel better physically. Once you set those goals and you achieve them, you start feeling better about other goals. Like maybe it's something else you've always wanted to do. You're like, well, wait, I set this goal, I achieved it, I can accomplish things. Maybe I'll set some other goal. So you get all those benefits. And so when we tell our beginning running groups, we say, it's like climbing a mountain. If I sat here today and we were standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the top of it, we just see this mountain, and it's pretty rugged terrain, and I say, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to climb up over this mountain, and on the other side of it is a valley. And in that valley, it's the most beautiful valley you ever saw. Everything that you ever wanted is there, free of charge. It's awesome. And you guys buy into it. You're like, oh, this sounds great. Let's go there. And we start going up that mountain. Well, about a quarter of the way up that mountain, after going through over the rocks and the rugged terrain and going through the thorns and all this stuff, a lot of people are going to go, well, wait a minute, how great is this place? This climbing this mountain is not fun. And we get halfway up, and you're like, it's getting really, place has better be the best place I've ever seen. And we get a little bit further, a lot of people are going to drop out and just say, you know what, it can't be that good. It's not worth this. And they're going to turn around and go back. Well, until you get to the top of the mountain and you can look down and see that valley and see that place really exists, it's going to be really hard for you to have the faith to say, oh, there it is, I'm going to continue. I'm going to go downhill. It's still a little rugged. There's still some thorns, but now I'm going downhill. It's not as much hard work. And boom, I'm going to be in that valley, and it's going to be great. Well, that's kind of what running is. Running for the first 45, and any physical fitness activity, but running in particular, is really hard the first 45 days. It is not fun. Most of the time, there are a handful of gifted individuals on this planet that will get out and go run 5 miles and not be winded, and after it's all said and done, go, oh, that was easy. Every runner, the most talented runner, the fastest person you know, started out the first time they ran and went, oh, that's hard. I don't like this. It's really hard. And it takes probably 30 to 45 days before your body acclimates to that type of activity to where you can go out and run for a mile and not be miserable. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but just not be miserable. And so for our beginning groups, we tell them that. We're like, here's the deal. You have to stick with it for 35, 40 days. You have to get through that initial hard part. Once you do, it'll be easier, but you've got to get to there. And so once we get that, I tell them, I say, here's the deal. After 45 days, if you don't come back from a run and go, oh, that wasn't so bad, you can quit. Give up. I don't have a problem with it. But give it 45 days. Without exception, and I'm saying without exception, I've never had anyone do that. I've always had them come in and go, that wasn't so bad, you're right. I did, that's okay. And that gives them then the motivation to keep going. And, not that you don't have other hard days or that running is always easy, but you'll start getting better and easier, and then you'll achieve your goal of, let's say it's doing a 5K. And most of the times then people are like, well, I did a 5K, I wonder if I can do a 10K. Well, I did a 10K, maybe I can do a half marathon. Well, I did a half marathon, maybe I'll try a marathon. And not everybody has to run a marathon, but that's the idea behind the, beginning running, getting going, and, sticking with it. So whatever you guys decide to do, and I hope everybody, if I do anything for you today, if you walk out here and say, I'm going to do something, I want to get a little more physically fit, I'm going to do something, I'm going to commit to 15 minutes, hopefully at the end of that 30, 45 days, you're going to feel better, you're going to keep with it, and you're stick with it. As far as, the other key with beginning fitness and beginning running is a group to do it with. And you guys are very fortunate. You have a tremendous place you work here. They're obviously very committed to wellness. If you can find a group of people that you can say, hey, we're going to do this together, we're going to commit to meeting 2 or 3 times a week, and we're going to work together, that is key. Have someone to hold you accountable or that you can see working alongside you and going through the same struggles, the easier it's going to be. So I would highly suggest everybody here find someone that wants to make that same commitment and say, hey, let's meet 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Let's do this together. It makes a big difference. The other thing that I tell people is if you make that commitment, if you join a group, or if there's 2 people, make the commitment that, hey, we're going to meet these times. These are times that work for us, Tuesday at this time, Thursday at this time, Saturday at this time. Make those times, make that commitment, and give yourself one simple rule. You can't call to say you're not going to come. If you say, I'm hearing people back, so I'm scattering. If you do that, if you say there's no calling off, that I actually have to show up, let's say you get up in the morning, you don't feel, I got a cold coming on, I just don't feel like going out and running today. Fair enough, that happens. But you can't pick up the phone and say, hey, Jorge, I'm not going to make it. You actually have to drive, get your stuff, get your gear together, drive there, and get out of the car and go, hey, man, I really feel bad about this. I'm sick. I don't feel like doing this today. Okay? What's going to happen is once you've gotten out of bed, once you've gathered your gear, once you've gotten in the car and driven there, you're going to get out of the car and go, I'm here. I might as well give it a try. And once you give it a try, I've done it. Believe me, I have been running. I was doing some quick math this morning as I was brushing my teeth. And I'm trying to figure out, I've been running for 25, 26 years now. And I average probably 25 miles a week. How many miles have I run in my lifetime? And I was starting to do the math. I'm like, okay, now, and I don't know why I knew this, but the circumference of the Earth was, I'm blanking on it for how many miles, but I figured that I could have circumvented the planet 972 times. I could have run around the Earth 972 times with all I've run. I promise you in those times, not every morning I have woken up and said, all right, let's go get it. This winter, I don't know if you all realize it, but this winter sucked. Bad. I will not run on a treadmill. I can't do it. I run outside. I run outside 5 days a week. I did not miss a day this winter because of the weather. I always say it's never too cold to run, or it's not too cold to run, it's just too cold to run slow. So those are really fast days. But I promise you this winter, many times I got out of bed and looked out the window and thought, oh, I'm not going to do this. But I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I know if I put my clothes on and I go out, once I get out there, it's not going to be as bad as I'm making it in my mind right now. And I've always said, you know, it's a half a mile to the end of my subdivision. If I get to the end of the subdivision and it's just really cold and I don't feel like it, I'll turn around and come back. Worst thing is I ran a mile today. I never once turned around and came back, much as my dog wanted to a couple times. I still went. So that's the one thing, if you have somebody that you're working with and you drive and you say, hey man, I'm not feeling it today, I'm not gonna run. Once you get there, you get your shoes on, you're gonna go out and run. And once you get done with that, after you're done, you're like, I'm glad I did that. I've never once gone out, and I've been stupid and ran when I was pretty sick, but I've never once, after I got done running, go, man, I shouldn't have done that. That was bad. I've always been glad I did. Now, usually when I get changed and showered and I start getting dressed and that I'm now sicker for it, I regretted it. But never once when I was done. So make that commitment and have somebody else make that commitment with you and do that. And then I guess you know, the last thing I'll leave you with is you know, try to do something here with your work. I know that you guys have a strong commitment to wellness. We've always been happy to help people and help organizations like this get beginning running programs going, lay the groundwork, come out and host a couple of the group runs. If you don't do it through work, I know Fleet Feet in Cherville, who is a competitor of ours, they do a lot of great beginning running programs. You can contact them. We put on a lot of great running programs over in Porter County. You can contact them. The Calumet Region Striders, they have beginning running groups. They have group runs. There are so many resources in Northwest Indiana right now. If you want to get into running, or if you want to get into cycling, or if you just want to get into fitness, there's resources. Seek them out. It is the best thing that you will do for yourselves. I will tell you, my life has been enriched. You know, I can't describe how much it's been enriched just by simply having physical fitness be a part of it. And I am not fanatical. I mean, I used to be. I used to run. When I was training and racing, I set some very specific goals for myself that I wanted to achieve. And I really, I mean, I was super focused on it. So I've been that route. I don't do that now. I don't train for anything. All the guys I used to run with and race with, fast guys like Bill here, they come up to me and they're like, man, you don't run anymore. I'm like, I run every day. I don't train anymore. I go out and I run every day, and my dog, I call him American Express because I can't leave home without him. He loses his mind. I hook him up to the leash every day, and we go out and we run. And my training plan now is I get to the end of the subdivision, and I decide to go left, right, or straight. And if it's a beautiful day, I'll go run for 3 miles. And if I feel great, I'll run for 4. And if I still feel great, I'll run for 5 and 6 and 7. And if it's raining and sleeting, I'll call a day at 3 and come in. But I do that for mental health, and I do that for fitness, and my life is so much better for it. So do something. That's all I can tell you. I will defy anybody in this room to try it for 45 days and tell me, hey, my life is not better for this. You know, heck out, you know, I'll give you a gift certificate to the store if you prove me wrong. So, all right, I think I had a half hour. I'm pretty sure that's a half hour or close to it. So does anybody have any questions? I'll be happy to answer specific running questions, beginning questions. I'm a big hockey fan, so if you want to talk about that, we can do that. So, yes, sir.
What's the best type of shoes to get based on your weight and height?
The best type of shoe is the ones that come from the Extra Mile and Valparaiso. No. There is no best kind of shoe. It's the best shoe is the best shoe for you. What we do at our store, without going too far over, when running is a repetitive use sport. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's lineal. So what we want to do is, if you're doing the same motion over and over and it's a good motion, that's good. If it's a bad motion, it's going to cause injury. We want your foot to go what we call through a neutral foot strike. That means your foot hits and it rolls straight down the middle. Most people don't do that. Some people pronate in and their foot turns in. Some pronate out, and they, you know, as your foot goes, so goes your knee, so goes your hip. And so if your foot's turning in, your knee's going to turn in. Most people say, I can't run, I get shin splints. Well, shin splints is nothing more than your foot turns in, your shin tries to stabilize your leg, it does a job it's not meant to do, and it gets sore. So by putting you in the right shoe, it'll eliminate that. So the best shoe is to go to a place, like I said, come to our store, go to a specialty running store that is trained to fit you in the right shoe. We'll take a look and analyze your foot gait. We actually have a video equipment in our store. We'll put you on a treadmill and make sure that your foot's in the right side. The wrong shoe is the shoe you buy at Kohl's or Famous Footwear or Shoe Carnival. All the running shoe manufacturers make two kinds of running shoes. They make running shoes. They make shoes that look like running shoes. The ones that look like running shoes they sell at Kohl's and Famous Footwear, they're not built the same. They're good in a pinch. And I will tell you, when you're first starting out, it's always been my philosophy. When I do something, I take up golf, I don't go buy the best golf equipment. I go buy something at a garage sale, and after I commit myself to learning to play the game, I will reward myself by buying something better. So I'm not telling you to go run you could run in anything if you're just doing a mile. It's when you start doing more and more of it, the repetitive use, that's where the bad shoes will really start showing. I tell people in the store, and we have kids all the time, I've never had this problem. Well, they just started cross country and they're now going from running 10 miles a week to running 40 miles a week. I can sit here and scratch my hand for 30 seconds. It will not bother me a bit. If I scratch my hand for 30 minutes, it's going to be red and it's going to be sore. So the more you do, the more important the right gear is. Anyway, very long story, but all the shoe manufacturers, all the brands make really great shoes. It's just a matter of getting the right one for you.
Is joint pain related to mechanics?
It can be. I actually have a progressive debilitating disease called OLD. It's old. So joint pain for me is just, I'm getting old. I'm 48 years old. Things don't heal. But yeah, a lot of times, typical running injuries, knee, ankle, hip, back, 95% of that stems from the wrong footwear, from your feet doing the wrong things. There are some people have some pre-existing conditions that will cause some pain, and then a lot of it is once runners. The hard part about running is, in order to kind of get used to it, you have to get this tough it out mentality. Because like I said, running stinks. The first 45 days stinks. It's hard. And you almost have to wire your brain to, I'm going to force my way through this. Because your body is a great self-preservation machine. It's going to tell you, hey, that hurts, let's stop doing that. And so you have to wire yourself to get through it. Well, as runners develop into runners, they do that through that get tough. So then after they start running for a lot and they start adding miles and things start to hurt, they kind of learn to ignore that. So a lot of times it'll be, that joint pain is something bad's going on and you just kind of force yourself through it. So very long answer, but yeah, I would say running, 99% of all running injuries are caused by two things. One is overuse, doing too much too fast. And the second is bad footwear. Your foot's striking the ground wrong, and it's that bad motion over and over. So, yeah. Well, in some, like I said, it's, with running, you have to know the difference between sore and hurt. Being sore is okay. Being hurt is not. So, and we can help you with that. Like I said, the fit process that we do, the gait analysis and stuff, we do free of charge. We hope you buy shoes from us, but if you don't, at least we know that you're going to get in the right step in the right direction, no pun intended, and you're going to be injury-free. And if you're injury-free, you might take up the sport of running. And if you take up the sport of running, eventually you're probably going to come see us. So, yeah. But yeah, the days that I get worried now are the days when something doesn't hurt. I go out for a run and nothing hurts. I'm like, uh-oh, today's the day. The Lord gave me one good day. Today's the day. So he's going to come get me now. So anyway, yes?
Any resources you can refer to online as far as if you want to train for run your first mile and then train for a 5K or a 10K? Are there any websites that you would steer people to that they might get some?
There are so many now. I mean, the Extra Mile Facebook page. So, no, like I said, there are so many right now. I have not looked at them in so long. I mean, Hal Higdon, a local guy, writer for Runner's World for a long time. Runner's World is a great one. There are so many of them out there. And I think if I were going to do anything, if you Google Couch to 5K, there are so many Couch to 5K programs out there. Like I said, we put ours on, and we do them free of charge. I know Fleet Feet over in Cherryville does them. I don't know. I think they charge for them, but I don't know. But there are so many of them out there, and there are so many charities out there now. There's so many races, so many 5Ks. We timed 180 events last year, and we primarily stay local. And a lot of those events, just so that they can get people involved, will have training program. So yeah, it's, you know, Google. It's, you know, if they, you know, anything that starts out that says start out running 25 miles a week, don't ignore that one. But yeah, I laugh because Jeff Galloway, and Bill may know who Jeff Galloway is. Jeff Galloway was a very talented Olympic runner in the early 70s, mid 70s, part of the first big running boom. He is famous for the walk-run program of getting people to do marathons by walking and running. They jog for a little, they walk. He's like he's the most tame, most pedestrian marathon training program you can get. The easiest one from someone who's never run a step. If you want to do a marathon, Jeff Galloway's your dude. His first book, which is the first training book that I bought, was Galloway's Complete Book on Running. He was the most sadistic son of a gun you will ever meet. His training program was Olympic caliber, so hard. I followed that thing, and it about killed me. It was, you know, marathon runners appreciate this, but you know, his program was you do a long run 1 week, which is up to 20 miles, and then the next week you did 1 mile repeats. So I'm doing this program, I'm doing 20 1-mile repeats with jog recovery in between. So it adds up to be about 30 miles at 6:15 pace, 6-minute miles. I finished those workouts, I would drag myself back home. I mean, I was like, you know, and now he's like, everybody let's walk together hand in hand. So anyway, so be careful what plan you get. Just because it's in a book doesn't mean it's good. But yeah, Couch to 5K, there's 1,000 of them. They'd be your best. Anyone else?
Is there any correct form to running?
That's something that once you start running, you worry about. You know, anyway, it's always better to run in a forward lean position and to not heel strike. Everyone says heel toe, that's garbage. But really, whatever works for you is best right now, and then you can kind of fine tune it. People always ask me, which way should I breathe? Should I breathe in through my mouth or should I breathe in through my nose? And I'm like, suck it in through your ears if you can. It doesn't matter. However you get oxygen in and carbon dioxide out, that's good for me. So, anyone else? I'll be around for a while afterwards if you have any more poignant questions. There's no dumb question. So if there is, I've already asked it. So we'll be happy to help you.